Whenever I think of an idea, I cannot just ask someone, okay, go and just spend a day, create a report for me. Everyone is busy already. If I'm going to ask that, I really have to think about that, really make sure that. But with Gemini deep research, I just, whenever I have an idea, if I'm curious about how the Intercom thing is doing, how they compare to Jotform AI agents, I don't have to ask someone. I can just go to Gemini deep research and ask it, and then in 15 minutes it's just going to create me a great report, and I can just read it quickly and learn it and be up to date.
Hi, my name is Demetri Panici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Aytekin. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. How you doing, Aytekin?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. The product that we've had has been out for a while. Jotform AI agents, they're on the up and up, and there's some new betas and features that have been released recently. I'm curious what necessarily they are, and we're going to get into a specific episode, but I want to give it a plug. We don't talk about our own product that much on this show, and I just wanted to ask, so how are you feeling about everything? There's a lot of new features coming out.
Yeah, recently we have focused more on not really release new features, but making the support better.
Sure.
The way we have been doing that was basically using it in-house for Jotform's own support. And we started with 30% resolution rate, and now we reached 70% resolution rate. And there were two different ways we were able to achieve this. So one of them was actually improvements on the LLMs actually helped us as well. So, for example, when we switched to the latest the OpenAI 4.1, that actually made a big difference. So Gemini 2.5 is coming as well. So the improvements on LLMs are making a difference. Another one was by improving our RAG system, by our the vector database for keeping track of all these data about the user guides, things like that. We were able to had at least a 10% increase in the resolution rates just by improving the data, and then also improving our user guides as well. And the rest of them were actually mostly about our team improving the Jotform AI agents so that it can actually answer questions better, and it can actually do things it can do API calls. Let's say someone wants to change their email address, it can actually do an API call, and it can actually do the change right on the chatbot. And we do that by we are not just implementing these features. We are actually implementing all these features to Jotform AI agents, so everyone can use it. So it's just it's so much fun to be able to use our own product and see improvements that way, and that's what we are mostly busy with. But yeah, today we are going to talk about the search, how AI and AI agents are replacing Google, and they are replacing. For me, I stopped Googling. And I'm actually doing a lot of deep research. If you think about it, most of the time when you're Googling for something, you actually want an end result. But most of the time, instead of just Googling the end result, you will do multiple searches. Will, for example, you are going to Google list of, let's say you're doing a research about AI chatbots, and you're just going to Google that, and then you will find a list of all these products, and then you will Google those products. You will visit their website. You will compare them to each other. So you're going to spend so much time Googling 100 times. But instead of doing that, whatever you're looking for, you can just state that and go to Gemini, go to Maini, and then just search for those things, and you get the final result. And I I've been doing that recently a lot and just enjoying it a lot, like getting those information in front of me and being able to just see this end result. It just makes it so much easier for me to, make decisions, research stuff, and made a big difference. So that's why we are covering search today. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I actually had just a bit of an epiphany when you were saying that oftentimes you do deep research for searching things up. So, for example, I work from home, right? I know you work from home for a fair amount of the time, but I was looking for like a co-working space to go to, and I was Googling, and it kind of sucked. And then I ended up settling on for answers to questions because websites themselves for these co-working spaces had bad like location of information. I said, can you just do a deep research on this list of questions, please, for this co-working space? And then what ended up happening is I got the information. So you're right. I think deep research is something that definitely leads to an end result rather than random Googling. And the nice thing is you can do a couple of them at once, right? And you can do something else while you're waiting to get the answer. You can go clean something, you can eat some food, like anything else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we start with deep research. Let me share you what I have about deep research. So one of the things is like doing competitor research, right? Jotform has competitors, and so one of the competitors is Intercom Fin, Jotform AI agents competitor, and they recently made some updates. So I was curious about them. Like I didn't have time to read about their updates, but I just went to Gemini, deep research, and then I like compare Jotform AI agents to Intercom Fin. So when I said that, basically what's happening is that it asked me next, like, should I do this? Like, should I, just research, find out about Jotform AI agent, find out about Intercom Fin, and then compare specific AI capabilities, analyze options, integration options, tools, and should I do, pricing model, subscription tires, things like that. It just asked for my feedback, and then I didn't need to change anything, so I said start research, and it started doing the research, and I think it took about usually takes about 15 minutes. I can't see the time when it started, but when I look at the results here, that I can actually see that it's basically started with an introduction, basically a summary of its findings, and it gives an overview of different products, right? You could also do this, like if you are deciding which product to buy, right? You could just ask deep research to compare them both to each other and then give you an answer. And then like core philosophy and approach from AI is just extended form automation with conversation AI. So one of the things that makes Jotform AI just powerful is it comes with forms as well. Like people can actually, while talking to chatbots, either by voice or by a chatbot on your website, they can actually fill out a form as well during the conversation. So I think that's like really makes it more powerful. One of the things. And Intercom Fin, AI first customer service resolution. So Intercom is like they are actually a customer service platform. So that's one thing they know really well. So how to resolve issues. So I think that's what makes them powerful as well. But then here we can see that it started actually comparing all these features as well. Primary use case, form-centric interactions, data collection, workflow automation, basic support. Intercom Fin, customer support resolution, complex query handling, frontline support automation. So setup, no code builder, Jotform also connects to knowledge base, but guided setup, things like that. So basically, it's comparing all these different things of the product. And if you care about one of them, maybe, if you're decided, these are going to be useful as well. So, and then the technology, it's talking about the technology, right? And then it's comparing the technology. And then it's comparing all these different channels we have. we support these channels. Intercom Fin also supports many channels as well. So we are actually very, competing pretty similarly in different, similar stuff as well. So this is a very true, analysis comparing the different pricing as well. Like Jotform starts with free and all these, options. And then Intercom also has, I don't think they have a free plan, but they start $29 per seat as well. Yeah, so it's even compared to user reviews. That's also cool. Like just looking at G2 reviews,
Yep.
Trust Media's reviews. So this is also very useful. Intercom also has like a lot of reviews. So yeah, I mean this is really good job at the decrease of ease of use. But I want to show another product, which is
Sure.
Manus. So um, I actually tried many products, but I settled on both Gemini and Manus, and this is Manus AI. I am. And what makes my Manus different is it has more tools than a regular deep research product. So, for example, one of the things I always do is like, the same. I say the same thing, but then I said create a website comparing all the features of both products to each other. And when I said this, Manus actually starts with asking me questions like it asks me questions like, are there specific features and aspects of AI agents that you would like to focus on? Do you have preference on website design? Would you like me to introduce any interactive elements and specific deployment methods finding website? So because this is only internal, I'm just, Manus also has its own like, hosting service. So it's just free hosting. So it's, I'm not deploying anywhere else. This is for me only. But when it creates a website, it's actually like just much nicer. So it actually did all this stuff. And at the end, it created like these documents, but it also created this website. So I'm going to show the website. So this is Jotform AI agents versus Intercom Fin website. It's comparing. I wish like it could have actually got the logos as well, but that's fine. And it sometimes does it, but this time it missed that. So it actually compared the features, resolution rates. We actually, interestingly, we are only like looking at our own resolution rates just from support. We don't have it for our users, but that one actually started 30%, and now we are over 70%. So I guess like this is actually good because now I know Intercom actually announces the user resolution rate. Maybe we should also start doing that, and that's something people might be looking for. So the pricing model is like, I think they're charging like $1 per resolution, which is probably also available here. Okay, $1 per resolution, and then $29. So it's just, I think it's going to get really expensive. In our case, really much cheaper because it's already included. And interestingly, it even did this pricing calculator. So if I'm gonna get like, if I will get like, let's say, 1,000 conversations, let's compare both products. Like let's say I get like 1,000 conversations per month, and then I would like to get this resolution rate, and you're just going to pay only $34 at Jotform, but then you're going to pay like $600 for Intercom Fin. It gets really expensive when you're paying like $1 per resolution. It gets expensive. So I mean, products like Intercom and like Salesforce Agent Force and like Sierra, they are more towards like enterprise customers, and we are more towards like small businesses, small healthcare, school, education, nonprofits. So we have different pricing. So it also compared. Wow, it's compared all the available platforms. So we are actually missing Slack, but because we have Slack integration, it thought that you could deploy your agents on Slack. But looks like, QR access code is missing on Intercom fin. So did a pretty visual gallery comparing different, screenshots, different screenshots from the website. So this is really nice. Really good job. Yeah. I mean, even like the questions. So like if you're just, researching two different products, or you're researching, doing a competitive research about your competitors, this is a great way to do that. We are also like with family in July, we are visiting London. So I just said to Maini, create a website about best London place for kids. Use lots of pictures because I'm going to show this to my kids to help them decide like which shows to go, and they prefer to look at the pictures. They don't want to read so much. And so it asked again questions like what's the age? So I gave 8 and 10. And would you like the website include specific information, ticket prices? Yes. Do you have any product web design? No. Would you like any interactive elements? No, I didn't want any interactive elements. So it worked another 15 minutes, and then it created this site. It even just used this background, and this is nice. I mean, I don't care if it stole this picture because this is only for my internal use. I'm only going to look at this, so I don't have to worry about copyrights. I'm not going to publish this website. Musicals, plays, venues, tips for parents. So I'm just going to show this to my kids, and then I will just go and buy the tickets for these. And the Lion King, Matilda, and the pictures are great as well. And like just the durations, things like that. I'm sure they're gonna love this. And on Android research, I also saw like they had like the Minecraft, but one possibility is that did I say for this year? Maybe it ended. I don't know. I will look for that as well. Okay, this is Perplexity. So Perplexity is also great for research because and here I use Perplexity. Just this is regular search, and it uses fan sources. It also shows all these. Okay, Minecraft is here. It also shows pictures. It might be even better. I don't even have to create a website because it has all the images here. And then this one is actually I used the deep research, and it took like 20 minutes to create this. And it used 64 sources. Like it visited like 64 different websites, and then it created this amazing research for me. And it has all these information about them. And even for my kids, maybe we'll just look at these pictures, and then they will say, we want this. And it looks like this even has like a kid, very small kids. I also have like a 2-year-old, so maybe we'll probably use this as well for our decisions. Yeah. So these were mostly about deep research. I know that I think you are also using deep research. Do you want to continue? Yeah.
Yeah. So something else really cool to call out with deep research is there's a couple different tools that exist. But what I really wanted to call out is the tool that, from my perspective, is the most interesting. So for those of you that know, Perplexity is a solid tool. It is an AI it's mainly known for its research capabilities, right? And what I'm in here is the API documentation, actually. And in the API documentation, you'll see that there's something interesting, which is deep research. They not only have deep research, but they actually also have reasoning models too. So if I look up reasoning models, and I'll show you this in ChatGPT and in OpenAI, but you'll see that unlike other models right now, they have reasoning models, they have deep research, and they have offline, all of which do not really exist on the API for most, if I'm to my understanding, all products, which is incredible. So literally inside of this right here, you'll see that if you, for any reason, need a deep level of research, this found 7 sources to search from. And this is essentially a question that I posited in Perplexity inside of this. This is a general question. I just did it for Sonar. But if I did deep research, I can posit even deeper questions. Most tools don't even have Google search capabilities in the API right now. OpenAI did just release that actually in like the native model. There was a video last week about it. But if I right click on this, it's going to be the first model that you'll see that actually does deep research via the API. And there are definite use cases for this. Say, for example, you're doing a weekly roundup or something of news in a certain category and you want it to automatically filter it out. I definitely recommend trying it out. It's the only tool that I've seen where it's doing this. And if you need to do deep research on a consistent basis, this is probably the main use case for it. So, I would definitely say news, or if you're interested in a subject in general and you just want to keep up to date with something, it doesn't have to be, news for apps or anything like that. It can be for a specific industry. Maybe you're creating a newsletter, for example, on a specific industry, and you want to utilize the deep research in order to make a newsletter. This could be an option, right? Using Perplexity's deep research to essentially then pump out whatever content it is, or just keep your team up to date with the different stuff without them having to parse through all the information. Starting it off with like the deep research module and then putting it through some cleanup is probably the best option. So I'm just going to run here for a minute, but yeah.
Just for the audience, so basically you are at make.com and you are actually using Perplexity within your workflow. So basically you will be able to do things like, run this deep research every day and then send me an email. And make.com actually makes that possible.
Exactly. 100%. So now what we see here is the output is pretty extensive, right? That doesn't happen in, doesn't happen utilizing usual, I guess just AI tools, right? So you'll see it has essentially, these little numbers are like the sources. So we're up to 11 sources on this guy. And it tells me, I was looking for co-working spaces and I live in the South Loop of Chicago. And after having done all the research this weekend, I can confirm this is the stuff in the area and these are good breakdowns. So overall it's pretty cool. That as Aytekin was saying, if I wanted to, I could say, hey, give me a breakdown of X thing, and then I could make another module to maybe clean it up. Then I could send it via Gmail, right? Send an email to team, send a Slack message to team, go to Notion and add content ideas to my calendar.
I mean, one idea I have is Jotform actually has integration with Make. So whenever someone actually fills out a lead form, and you can actually find out their company, right? And then you can do a deep research about their company and make it so that it comes up with ideas about how they can use your product or services. And then when you are actually getting back to them, you will have all that deep research ready. By the time you see that lead, and then you will have all the details about that business. You will have all these ideas about how they can use your services. So you could even ask AI to actually write an email draft an email for you and be ready for
Aytekin. This is being written down as we speak for a idea for my own lead form situation. So deep. Yeah, that's a great idea. Basically doing deep research on information that's coming in. I think for all of us, information in business is king. I think there's a lot of there's something that I guess I want to note about. We keep going back to this concept with AI. it's just making information more readily accessible. And I know people are concerned with, oh, is it going to be taking away jobs, that sort of thing. You know what? I'll be honest. I think what it's going to do is, in a lot of cases like mine or other small businesses, we just simply don't have the time or don't have the ability to think in such a way to assign somebody to a task like that.
Yeah.
We can just automate it real quick, right? Like
even at a large company. I mean,
Yeah.
Jotform is a larger company, and I cannot just, whenever I think of an idea, I cannot just like ask someone, okay, go and do me a report. Like just spend a day, create a report for me. Like just everyone is busy already. Like just if I'm gonna ask that, like I really have to think about that. Like really make sure that. But with Gemini deep research, I just whenever I have an idea, if I'm curious about like how the Intercom thing is doing, like how they compare to Jotform AI agents, I don't have to ask someone. Like I can just go to Gemini deep research and ask it, and then in 15 minutes it's just going to create me a great report, and I can just read it quickly and learn it and be up to date. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is almost a way in order to create little mini processes that are saving you time on things that you wish you were doing. Because I think a lot of people misconstrue, I guess, the concept of like what you can do and what you could assign somebody versus what they may necessarily, even if you're in a business, it's not always the best idea to assign something to somebody, because at a certain level, you're going to have to go through the training process, you're going to have to go through the onboarding process, you're going to have to like scale that onboarding process out. And what ends up happening, I'd say, a decent percentage of the time, is most companies will just be like, that's not worth the headache for what we're going to get out of it. Whereas you could just automate a little part of it, so it's more value to the consumer, more value to the other companies you're dealing with, and not necessarily losing jobs or anything. So that came to mind with that. But all right, so we got through deep research. What's next on the list, Aytekin?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about news, because a lot of the research involves finding out about news, and I have some examples I can share. And okay, where am I? Okay, so just to give you an example, I actually use like this time O4 Mini. I'm just testing different versions, but they have, So what's different about these old models is like they have, they have, before they do the actual querying, they actually think about it a little bit. And in that case, I asked about what products Jotform launched in 2025, and it thought for like 2 minutes, and user was asking about Jotform launches. So it's Googling like the site Jotform.com blog, and this. So it's actually Googling, by the way. This is replacing Google, but it's also doing Googling. And I don't know if this Googled it or if it actually searched with its own search engine.
The answer to that question, if you do want to know, is that it's a fine-tuned GPT that they connected to Google's API.
Okay.
So it's essentially able to parse through the information better, but it's using the Google API and Google searching, and then pumping that information almost like a RAG into the LLM, and then it's fine-tuned to understand the results from Google search better. That's the answer.
So it finds things. So basically, even before giving an answer, it's just doing lots of things. And after doing all these things, it was able to like give me January Jotform for Canva, which actually was really successful. Like just turned out like a lot of people wanted to use Jotforms within their Canva websites.
Nice.
And so all these integrations, AI agents. But the thing was like, it kind of missed this is incorrect date. It didn't do a really good job on this order. Even like the order Jotform AI agents, Jotform AI agents for enterprise actually came later. So I asked it, okay, sort them by importance. I could have said that in the first prompt, but basically let's see how it's sorted. User wants me to importance. I will need to think about criteria, maybe prioritizing core products or integrations. Yeah, that's a good idea. I will reorder based on the potential impact. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just doing this. And then after that, it decided Jotform AI Agents is the biggest launch. It still has the wrong date, which we released it in February. But still, this was pretty good. Yeah, this is the most important launch we had so far this year. And of course, we launched its enterprise version. Right, we launched just for boards, kind of like a Trello for your form submission data. And then boards for enterprise, just for Canva. This was the general launch, and all the other stuff we had this year. Yeah, so but then I wanted to try different options. I don't really use Grok much, but I just wanted to try different products. And because I know that it uses X, and X actually has like a lot of information about events and launches. So I wanted to try it there. So it did a good job. Even sorted it well. Jotform AI Agents, the biggest one. The second one was Jotform for Comma, and the third one was Jotform for. So it was able to prioritize much better probably because when it looked at all the X posts, Twitter posts about them, it discovered that bigger product launches, bigger products actually had bigger impact, more tweets and or X, whatever it's called on X now. We called it tweets before. So
you can
and
keep
then
calling it tweets.
It's still called tweets, yeah. And I tried Perplexity. That's and basically, it actually, I think I like this better because it's Perplexity uses images. Like it integrates images within the search, and I really like to look at the pictures. Right, Jotform's launches. Okay, I can see the pictures. What was launched? Different things. Right, this is cool, and it actually did a good job in the prioritization. The biggest one, Jotform AI Agents, Jotform boards. Well, this workflows was in 2024, and it actually said that it was in 2024, but prominent in 2025. Interesting. And it missed the Canva, but yeah, it's still pretty good. And I want, and this is more about events, but I also wanted to like how they do and there's no way to kind of do this search today with Google, right? If you try to find out what's going to happen next week in Chicago, right? You're in Chicago, that's why I searched for it to help you.
Sure.
Get out there more in front, instead of sitting in front of the computer all weekend. Okay. What's happening? And you cannot Google this, right? It's very hard to Google this because you will find all these unnecessary, unrelated, and different days. But this actually did a better job and just found all these different like May 3. So it uses dates. This one is for later, maybe not this weekend, but it actually found a list of all these like concerts and theaters and comedy stuff like that. Also use Grok, and because maybe people tweet about different things. So looks like there's a film festival. There's a spring flower show, and theater and music, and so Grok actually did a really good job in the event part. But Perplexity also did a good job by you can also look at the images to see of all these different events and different it divided them. But I feel like Grok actually did the best job here. And if you think about like the being current and being like talking about today, it's all about like just Twitter. Like whenever something big happens, right, you just go to X, and just because people are instantly tweet in and you can find out more information about it. So in the events, like in the current time or next weekend or things like that, I feel like Gronk actually did a better job here. So I also asked about like the playoffs, like NBA playoffs, and the best one was actually Perplexity, because
Wow.
it actually shows it so well. Like, look at this. Like, you can actually see all the recent games, and it even like has the logos. So I feel like they actually like designed this, because probably also people are asking these kind of questions. So like this one also doesn't have like a comparison. Like, you cannot Google this. Like, you cannot Google what's the latest news about NBA playoffs. You can go to Google News, but you'll find all these random stuff. You're not gonna like have this report, see all the recent games. Hopefully, I mean, we will publish this later, so we are not gonna. Anybody who is
if
like
you guys,
watching the games later, yeah. And a notable story involves Timberwolves Lakers series. So this is actually
that was a good game.
The Anthony Edwards is like doing really great stuff there, but Lakers are winning 3-1.
They're on the brink of elimination. No,
yeah,
they're down 3-1. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're down 3-1. I confused it with the Denver stuff. Denver is down 3-1. Yeah. And so they did a great job. Like, even you can click on each one and then read about it, retry something went wrong. Anyways, Grok talked about like the most notable stuff, and again, like Grok is probably using all these like Twitter data to be able to like prioritize the importance. So that's also important, especially when things are happening very fast. Like, just it's important to even showing like the next games. So that's also very cool. And yeah, these are mostly about the recent events. And yeah, do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah. Wait. One thing I wanted to talk about real quick. Regarding the news, you called it out, and I do think it's fair to point out the only AI that Google really has, is AI this overview. Like AI overview, which is, like you mentioned, still not great. Like, Google has a bunch of previously what it would be before the AI overview, which, by the way, just to point out, it's not even a bulleted list. It's a one paragraph, which is weird, and I don't really understand that. But secondarily, there's an ad, which is obviously annoying. We've had these for a while. And then you click on Chicago events, for example, and then there's just a list of things to scroll through. And I'm not pleased with this, mainly for the fact that, like, I don't feel like this ever gives me proper list in order.
You want to know the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's just like a timeline. And then, you look up what's the latest news about the NBA playoffs. And with all due respect to Google, it's actually pretty depressing that they haven't figured out, when you Google something like this, what you actually want is this.
Yeah.
This is a nice layout, but for some reason when you Google, you'd think it would just be like by default. And what I do a lot, and I used to only Google things, but I use the ESPN app now, as I used to Google like, Jason Tatum, right? For example, or I spelled his name wrong. Now, this is his averages. Okay, that's fine. But like, I want to see this more towards the top. Like, obviously, I don't really care about, I don't know. It's just, I don't think they personally have like looking up news that great, in my opinion. And you called that out, but yeah, I think it's kind of frustrating when they've had the capability for so long. And I think what they've essentially done is they've crowded this. Like, the funny part to me was, I look up Jason Tatum. Okay. Why is, for all intents and purposes, only the left-hand side used? You think about it on a Google search with this situation. I'm getting this snippet of Tatum. Like, how about over here if I look up NBA news? You could literally have the same results, except put the scoreboard over here, man. Like, come on. Like, it's obvious. It's so obvious. One or the other. Or put the news over here of the scoreboard. It's a weird, I think they've actually not done anything to kind of improve in a while. So that's just my complaint. But anyways, now we're talking about news.
Yeah, I feel like Perplexity, they actually designed that page really well. And just for the game stuff. And I guess, Google could have done something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my main frustration. I think it's a solid product. Obviously, Google's always been good, but I just don't feel like they've done that much. So speaking of a product that has done pretty well, I know we already talked about deep research, but and now we're getting into web search. So this one is a good one. So this is essentially a news option that I think is great. So Claude has been around for a while, and they have managed to add a lot of really good components. One of them being web search. Now, this is powered by Brave. Are you familiar with Brave? Yeah, so Brave is essentially, they try to claim to be like one of those like unbiased search engines, is how they claim to be. So we can look up news. As you can see, these are the search results for like what are the news updates for Claude AI and OpenAI, and it gave us results like recent Claude AI updates include in February 2.7 was released. In April, Anthropic launched the Google Workspace integrations, allowing users to read Gmail emails and access calendar invites. Anthropic also has a new subscription called Max. This is very similar to the ChatGPT plan. They also have JavaScript capabilities for their coding sandbox. And then, this is talking about recent updates with OpenAI, which we talked about 4.1, which is only available through the API. So they did do a good job of this. And I guess I am going to show another example, though, because you can add web search with extended thinking. This just allows it to think longer on the specific question. So if you said a more specific question, like what are the new capabilities of O3 Mini and O3 and O4 Mini. These are the two new OpenAI tools that are out. I've been messing around with them a lot. Obviously, you've been messing around with them a amount at. Ooh, there's some confusion. Oh. Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. There we go. So OpenAI describes O3 as its most advanced model ever, the ability to think with images. We'll show that in a second here. Support for advanced features like function calling. That's a very good thing. We should probably do an episode on MCPs, by the way. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they're talking about this a lot. And Claude has MCPs, but also OpenAI is doing that now too with the function calling. So like O3, it can be used to combine all the tools available in ChatGPT, including web browsing, image generation, etc. So as you can see, this gives a nice breakdown of the news. It's very succinct, I would say. By default, this tool, I would honestly say, is the most succinct and naturally human sounding AI right now. I don't know how much experience you have with Claude, but Claude sounds the most human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also saw that there was even like a Gmail, different types of searches there, and it's very interesting that you are able to like search your Drive or Gmail within Claude.
Yeah, let's do a little check like of what time is my call with Aytekin today. I'm curious if it's gonna work. I'll check your calendar. Searching for events. Interesting.
Okay, cool.
So it's actually like literally searching the Google calendar. I found your good. Huh. Wow. So I figured that out based off the name, right? So we did start meeting at 8 and tonight at 30. So that's an interesting situation. Wow.
If you think about it, like, it indexed your Gmail. It can search your Gmail. It can search your calendar, and it has a voice mode as well, right? Claude has a voice mode. I
Mm-hmm.
usually use ChatGPT, but while you're driving, you could just search your Gmail or like just search your calendar and ask for stuff. So that's pretty cool.
So there's another tool that I work with. It's like a Notion AI adjacent tool. And I think there's an unread email I have in there about updates to the app. It's like this newsletter, right? So I'm curious if it's going to be able to find. I found several recent emails with notice. You know what? That's funny because Florian is the person who I work with, right? I mentioned it, and it's actually figuring out that he accepted my meetings, declined the meetings, and then yes, that email that I just showed here was found as well. Mm-hmm. So very cool. Yeah, I really like this. This is incredible. And then Google Drive. Okay, what about Google Drive?
Yeah.
I can look. What is where is my discovery call sales deck? Oh, this is crazy. Wait, what if I can't find a file inside of Google Drive and this is the solution?
Yeah.
Okay, so now when it can't find it, it keeps trying to find it. Okay.
You're going to anger the Google gods.
The Google gods are going to, yeah. Oh, you weren't able to find it? No. Okay, keep finding. Come on. Nah, you stink. Okay, interesting. So I guess I would imagine this one's probably going to be the hardest one to do because you probably got to get the name similarly right. So,
Google Drive search is really hard, by the way. Like I cannot find stuff in, like, Google is supposed to be the search god, but I really cannot find stuff in Google Drive. Yeah.
Is the Rise Productive Discovery call. And what I'm curious about is if it doesn't know where it is because I didn't create it. A lot of times, sometimes if you didn't create it, these tools don't work with Google Drive. I laugh when Gmail and when Google Drive are bad at this because I'm like, aren't you like the search company? Like you didn't code that. What were you doing? So obviously this is one of the last things, but what, where are we closing on the list? I think we're actually getting to the end here.
For example, if you search for like a full name for someone, like it's just gonna bring every person with that first name and every person with that last name, and then all the documents that has those like first names or last names. So just and then the order is like just very hard to fix as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. But before we end it, just I have another one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just location search, right? This is so 4O is really cool, and so one of the things you can do is like if you have pictures, you can actually you can actually search those pictures. And just as an example, I picked up this one. So this is our our newsletter actually always has these like videos, YouTube videos. I picked up this thumbnail from that and then asked it like, where are they located? And the answer is, it was able to actually find where this is located. Like this is our office, San Francisco office, basically, and you can see the Bay Bridge, and like even though it's blurry, it can see the Bay Bridge, and then the ferry building location, and so that's actually pretty good. But it had to think about it for 2 minutes, doing the analysis, doing finding like zooming. Basically, one of the things it does is like it zooms in different things to find, and just it's like thinking so much, like just doing so many things. It's really cool, like just really cool to see what it thinks. Like, I mean, in the past, like when you ask questions like that, it would just hallucinate or just fail. But now it's just trying. Like it tried for 2 minutes to discover this, and even though there was this blurry stuff, it was able to look at the silhouette and analyze the image and discover where it is. So and then I asked like who are they, but I guess maybe it doesn't want to find like give names or something. Maybe it's just for security privacy purposes, but it actually gave me information about like the Jotform branded polo shirts and yeah, I don't have their names to share. It said
Yeah.
so, and they just location search. You could just ask things like just like you would go to Google, you could ask for location of Jotform. It can give you addresses and just all the other office spaces and addresses, and it's thinking about this and just looking at all these websites. And this is really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's no reason to go to Google. You have like the AI tools have all this information now, and just whatever you have in your mind, you could just okay, you were talking about this before we.
Yeah, I have a similar one here too. It's in my opinion pretty impressive. Like we have this is just a picture like of the ceiling of a church. I mean, this is not a very detailed picture in my opinion. Like, it's not much of anything. And it did the same thing. It like zoomed in, it analyzed, it looked up pictures, it zoomed in on different parts, it zoomed in on different parts. It took a while. I mean, 6 minutes, but then it figured out properly. It's like this is Saint Mary's. Yeah, St. Mary of the Angels Church. Yeah, in Bucktown, Chicago. That's true. Like that is where I went, right? So I went there and I see this and I'm like, well, I guess privacy's over. That I was like, oh, well, that's done. People want to know where you were. I find that was the funny thing. I showed this to a lot of people. You were pretty excited about it. Everyone who wasn't like in the tech space immediately went to, oh, well, I guess my privacy's over. I was like, yeah, it's been over. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is great. Like, I have been on a Google diet for a while. Like, whenever I need to Google something, I don't go to Google. I will just go to ChatGPT, Gemini. Gemini is also Google, but and Maini's Perplexity and products like that, and just I find it like I get much better results, not because like Google. When I Google, I also get good results sometimes. But the thing is, like these tools actually do the work for me. Like they do the work, and they bring me so much value because they save me so much time. And I think it's over for Google now. And I mean, it only lost like 5 to 10% to ChatGPT on market share. But I think it's just going to increase a lot in the coming months and years. But the thing is, it's not fully over because they have Gemini, and Gemini is really good. And when I do deep research, Gemini brings me like the best results as well. So the only thing like Google needs to do is like do that, fix that AI overview stuff, and just make it better. Really give what people need, and then it's going to be hard for the many like people who depend on search engine traffic. So that's some other topic for another day, I guess. But we're also seeing our ChatGPT referrals increasing. Like just ChatGPT is also bringing lots of traffic.
You mean like from your
to us
source,
as well.
your
So
like
it's
source
replacing
UTM?
Google. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think it's like it's a big shift. It's like I remember that like like around the time like 1999, 1998, around that time, like searching internet was really hard, and then Google came out, and then it became so much easier to search the web and find stuff, and it's a similar shift right now happening, and uh, AIs kind of they are replacing Google at this at the search, and they're not just replacing Google with something very similar to Google. They're actually replacing Google with something much better, just giving you like the full answer and details. So I think it's pretty cool.
Agreed. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for spending some time with us here today. Thank you for all the support. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a like and comment on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.